relationship, do you get bored?
Yeah. Well, hey, I mean, I can't, you're being honest. You're being honest. 14 years is a long time. That is a long, wow, that is the age of, yeah, that's the age of my godson. He is 14 years old. So I'm trying to imagine right now being with someone back when Logan was born, all the way till now. Like, I mean, I've done that, but I've done that with my best friend. Oh, sorry, that's my cat. I've done that with my best friend. Like, me and my bestie, we didn't live together then, but we live together now. I just can't imagine myself having a relationship for that long with somebody who wasn't my best friend. Do you know what I mean? Like, romance just kind of doesn't even come into it for me. Gifts and acts of service and love language and physical touch. Step back right now. Okay? Do not be putting any of those limbs anywhere near my limbs, because they will get broken. Okay? Thank you so much. Like, romance just doesn't, it doesn't factor into it. Like, even if somebody was in love with me and I was in love with someone, I just feel like that would all come through in our personal expression to each other, in our, inside jokes, and the ability to ugly laugh until we can't breathe and tears are streaming from our eyes, and to go and have completely individual separate lives, and then when we come together at the end of the day or whatever, it's, look, I did this and I did that. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Like, I can't imagine it any other way than wanting to run out onto the playground and be like, oh my gosh, I did this thing, and then they'll be like, yeah, that's so cool, tell me all about it, I did this thing. And I don't know, it's traditional romance and performative romance just has no bearing. It means nothing to me because I understand that it's performative. Do you know what I mean? And props to these guys here. I'm just watching some TikToks right now. Props to these guys here for being honest. You've been together for 14 years. Do you get bored? Yes. I don't think that's something that would put me off being with somebody for 14 years, but I don't experience boredom on my own. So being in a relationship, if it turns out that that's what's going to create some kind of boredom in my life, then why on earth would I do it? Now, obviously, I know that's not the case. Not everyone, number one, not everyone doesn't experience boredom in their life. Most people do. I'm just, have a highly active brain. I'm very creative. I'm always doing something. I just don't experience boredom, So most people aren't like that. So I get it, in their relationships, coming across boredom now and again, it's that's probably normal to them. Do you know what I mean? But still, like, if that just seems crazy to me. Like, if you are getting bored with sharing your life with someone, it might be possibly because you guys are living the same lives as each other, which is kind of my point. Like, let's go in two different directions, and not two different directions, but let's have our own individual lives. You've got hobbies, you've got interests, and then we've always got something to share. We've always got something to talk about. We've always got something to learn via each other if we choose to. There's always something to experiment with and play with, like, this world is it's supposed to be a playground, but so I kind of, props to those guys. I do respect people who are able to just tell it as it is, tell the truth, not sugarcoat things and stuff, which, let's face it, is a lot of what social media is going to do, especially when we're talking about romance. So that was a bit much of an intro, you guys. Sorry. Welcome to another episode. Notes of a Curious Mind with me, Topher. Welcome to the World of Filara. If you are new here, hey, how's it going? All right, if you can see me on YouTube, hi, this is my face. I couldn't bother to have my hair out today because it's just a little bit too much, okay? So we got the ballerina bun, all right? If you're not on YouTube and you're listening elsewhere, hello, how are you? Please leave a review or something after you finish the episode. Even if you hated it, leave me a 1-star review. I don't care. Leave me a 1-star review and tell me to, I don't know, go back to my home country or something, which it literally is England, but still, let's go, all right? It's all engagement, okay? So, as you can pretty much tell, we're going to be talking romance today. There are a whole bunch of topics I want to talk about when it comes to romance. As you can see, I'm kind of titling each episode, or that's the intention, is to title each episode with some kind of question, right? Why this, and how come humans do that, and why do we love this so much, right? So today we're asking the question, why do we love performative romance? Why is romance so performative? Putting on the act, doing some kind of grand gesture to declare in some way, I'm interested in you. Or, more likely, I want something from you. Whether that's your time, your attention, your emotional labor, your physical body, whatever it is, I want something from you, right? And here I am declaring that. And usually it involves money, okay? Money, money, money. Must be funny in a rich man's world. Yeah, because it's definitely a rich man's world, isn't it? Like, we might talk a little bit actually about how much performative romance is a little bit more on the one gender side than the other. Do you know what I mean? I think that's because women, we understand, to most men, not all, we know it's not all, but to most men, we understand what our value is. And our value is not going to be really in buying them flowers, right? Like, you don't buy flowers for a man, do you? And even if, like, let's say you don't buy flowers or something, I don't know, what do you get instead in place of that? I want to say video game, maybe? Do you know what I mean? I suppose it depends on how much it costs. Because video game, you know, brand new video game is going to be 40, 50 quid, dollars, whatever, bucks. And, you know, flowers can be like 20, depending on where they're getting them from. 5, depending on where they're getting them from. Do you know what I mean? So I think performative romance is something that is a little bit more of a masculine necessity in society in order to, you know, because we have, unfortunately, a patriarchal system that does not allow for men to have emotions apart from the aggressive ones. Do you know what I mean? Don't you dare have empathy. Do you know what, young man? I'm not even going to teach you. Me as society is not even going to teach you how to have empathy. All right? That's how little that you're not allowed to have it, okay? So I think performative romance, especially when it comes to the spending of the money and the buying of the gifts and stuff, kind of falls a little bit more on the masculine side as a way of compensating for some men for the fact that they can't necessarily express themselves. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, I don't know how to say, I don't want to be vulnerable and put myself in that position of being the one to say, I love you first, or to say how I feel, or to sit down and look you in the eye and be like, this is how you make me feel, and blah, 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 blah. So here you go, here's some flowers, that does the job, right? Right? That does the job. Because that's what the world says that does the job. That's what the movie says does the job. That's what all of those namby-pamby books and romance schlock tells me that works. So I'm going to give you the flowers, it's going to work, right? No, unfortunately not. That only works for a little while, which is what we call the honeymoon period. What is the honeymoon period? It is essentially a period of time where performative romance is required on a more consistent basis. Yeah, after the honeymoon period, let's say you move in, you have a kid, you settle down, you get married, whatever the unspoken moment is. There's always this weird unspoken moment between, you know, majority of standard romantic relationships. There's this weird unspoken moment where all of that just sort of passes away. Do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, we're done with that part, right? Now I don't have to text you every day to say blah, 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 blah. I don't have to take you out on dates anymore and this, that, and everything else, right? I don't have to. Now I get it. We live in the economy we do. So if you're having a kid or you're settling down or you're saving for a house and things like that, that takes away money from being able to do those kinds of things. But guess what? Because it's a capitalist society that makes you believe you have to spend money in order to declare how much you are interested in or love somebody, we all think to ourselves, well, I can't be saving for a mortgage and we can be going on fancy dates. Yeah, but that doesn't mean you can't be creating your own dates. That doesn't mean you can't be creating it at home for yourself with some cheapy salads from Tesco's or Albertsons. Those are my two references so that the UK and US knows what I'm talking about. Right? You can make it up. You could be sat in the empty room of your new apartment that you just bought together, right? And you're saving your money for the things inside, or the mortgage, or the blah, 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 or something. Do you know what I mean? But if you are with that right person, if you are not living in this mindset of the only way to do it is to essentially spend money or do something performative, right? You miss out on that opportunity to create moments like that. Do you know what I mean? Create moments, not just perform something. Do you know, perform an action, to perform I can't say perform a gift, that's not the right word, but perform a giving motion. God, that sounds wrong. I take that back. Strike that off the record. But you know what I'm trying to say? Oh, innuendo. I do enjoy innuendo, right? So let's have a look. Let's have a look in here. So, romance. I'm just going to type it in on Google. I always love doing that. Just typing it, like, what comes up if you just type in the word? Do you know what I mean? Has multiple definitions, the feeling of love, a type of literature, and a group of languages. Oh yeah, romance languages, that's like Italian and French and stuff, right? It's what I call stick languages. I imagine it's all written in italics. That's romance. Romance languages. Okay, let's more specifically look at love here. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about the difference between romance and love. Romance is essentially a performance action. Romance is to intentionally create an atmosphere, right? Like, romance isn't necessarily, I feel romance for this person. You don't feel romance for a person. Romance is kind of, it's an act. It's an action. Or an atmosphere. You have to create it through some kind of action. Oh, this is romantic. I don't feel romance, but something is romantic, right? This situation, this location, this gift, this, sometimes it can be communication, of course, but the thing is romantic. It's not like, like, oh, how do you feel right now about Ted, right? I feel so much romance for him. You just don't say that, right? That's the difference between romance and love. Love is the feeling, right? Now, we're going to break that down a little bit more, but love is the feeling. And somebody can throw romance at you 10 ways from Sunday, and you can still not necessarily love them, right? And when I say love them, I mean all of them, because let's face it, none of us are out here, well, I'm certainly not, but none of us are out here in the dating pool and in dating apps and all of those kinds of things. None of us are out here putting across the entirety of ourselves, right? We're only trying to sell the best of ourselves. We're all the sleazy car dealership salesman. We are all the sleazy car salesman who is just trying to put across the best of everything, right? Don't ignore that broken carburetor over there or whatever. Look how shiny this is. Yes, but it goes very fast and all of those things. And then you buy the car and 10 miles down the line, it's like, oh, it was a lemon. Yes. Yes, people aren't necessarily always lemons and stuff, but you have to recognize in the first instances, we are only putting across the best of ourselves most of the time because we feel like the rest of it won't be accepted. So really think about it. When you are in the romantic stages, honeymoon stages of being with someone or whatever, you're not getting to know all of them. You're not getting to know what it's like to live with them day in and day out. You're not getting to know their coping mechanisms and their trauma responses and all of that kind of stuff, because it's all hidden. Nobody, it's the car dealership. I'm not going to show you all of that stuff. I want you to buy the car, right? So love is so much more than just, right, okay, I've got a chemical reaction. I am interested in you. I am attracted to you, right? Let's face it. It's attraction. Love and attraction are two separate things. That's what causes the confusion. Because I am attracted to you, because I am performatively showing romance to you and you doing the same back at me or whatever, even if you've been together with somebody for like two, it doesn't even matter how long. It can be different for everyone, of course. But because of those things, that must equal love. That must equal I'm in love with you, right? Or you're in love with me, or whatever, right? And it's like, falling in love that's the chemical reaction. The falling in love and the being attracted and oh my gosh, la, 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 that is the chemical hormone reaction, right? Loving somebody, that's a choice. Yeah? Choosing to love somebody, that's a choice. Because when you're doing it in the most authentic sense, you're going to love them for all that they are, right? So my best friend is a great example. I honestly think best friends are really one of the greatest examples, right? It is somebody that no matter how they come to you, whether they are up here or down here, whether everything's going right or everything's going wrong, whether they are in a better place than you or not, whether they are needing help from you or not, whether they are in ugly mode or not, whatever is going on with them, you just unconditionally accept this person. You know, some people kind of do it with their children. I think societally we are, it's ingrained into us to believe that our parents unconditionally love us, and that is not true. It's not true at all. Just because you give birth to a child, that does not mean at all that you experience unconditional love. I do believe so many people do. That's not for everyone, of course, but just because doesn't make it so. Unconditional love is a choice. It is a choice to accept this person in all of their forms and stuff or whatever, right? And also, unconditional love by no means means that you have to have that person in your life either, which is another thing. We should cover that in a future topic, you guys. Unconditional love does not mean that you stick around and tolerate and put up with somebody's BS. Yeah, you can unconditionally love from a very, very far distance. All right, you can forgive and bring closure and all of that crap from a very, very far distance from that person. All right, just saying. So yeah, unconditionally love, especially when it comes to romance, I think looking at it in terms of a best friend is just the best way of doing it, because you just unconditionally love and accept your best friend. You choose to. It's an easy choice. You don't question it. It just happens so naturally and organically all by itself. And even if you don't see each other for 6 months, 6 years, you still, everything is exactly the same when you come back together and stuff. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, I don't understand why we're not seeking that out in our romantic relationships, right? Why are we not seeking that level of vulnerability and safety and security in that unconditional love? Why are we not seeking for that in our romantic relationships? Because romance is performative. It's not love. It's an action. It's an atmosphere. It is something that you have to do in order to make it. Whereas unconditional love and love itself, it just happens, right? And it is not attraction. Attraction is, that's the honeymoon phase, right? Attraction is, do you know what's so confusing? Is that attraction looks a lot like unconditional love. They kind of look the same, but you have to look closely to notice the intricate differences, right? Unconditional love and attraction both look like, I'm going to accept this person no matter what. Or I'm going to be attracted to them. I'm going to like them. I'm going to fall in love with them no matter what. The difference is with unconditional love is the ability to be able to do that and still recognize whether or not somebody is unhealthy, right? I can unconditionally love people in my family who are incredibly unhealthy for me, right? But I unconditionally love them. That doesn't mean I have them around every single day or at all. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's the discernment is there with unconditional love. You're able to clearly see, right? But with attraction, rose-tinted glasses go on. It makes everything look like it's a happy unicorn fairy tale and your Disney prince is about to turn up, or you're going to rescue your Disney princess, and then you're going to ride off into the sunset, either on horses or in a convertible. That's usually how it goes, isn't it? You know, and they lived happily ever after. Sorry, my cat is just messing around. Can you just go that way, please? Thank you. Thank you so much. Why are you so weird? So yeah, that's usually how it goes, right? Or at least that is what we are, that's what we are conditioned to believe is the best version of it, right? Of falling in love and having romance in your life and stuff or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So many times I wish that movies would carry on. Do you know what I mean? I wish Cinderella would carry on after what's his face came and put her shoe on. I wish Sleeping Beauty would carry on after some random guy kissed her. Right? I wish Snow White would have carried on. Because she was 13. And he was like a 30-year-old man. I wish that had carried on. Because let's face it, we all know what would have happened, right? Like, it's not a happy ever after, right? It's a happy honeymoon period until the two people realize, until the walls come down, until the cracks show, until the trauma responses and the coping mechanisms and all of their belief systems and limitations and restrictions all come to the surface, right? Because you can't hide from those things. You literally, there is no human being on this planet that can just pretend their whole life, right? That's not how it works. It's the laws of the universe. And so we all know what would have happened, right? They would have ended up divorcing, the lot of them, probably quite quickly. Oh Lord, you know, and let's face, I mean, maybe not, because we do live in a patriarchy too. So, you know, many of them probably just carried on and on and on, being good little shut up, quiet girls, and then they died. So nice, lovely, lovely. At no point was there any kind of unconditional love. At no point was there an unconditional accepting of a person and understanding that the two of you align together in a way that, you know, your benefits build up their cons, their benefits build up your cons. Do you know what I mean? Your pros and cons and stuff. Your strengths and weaknesses, that's probably a better way of putting it. Right? And yes, it is a journey to go and find that person. To think that you're going to find that person, in the first 30 years of your life, you're having a laugh. You're having a freaking laugh. And again, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it is very, very rare. It's extremely rare. And yes, it might be you that happens to, right? But we still need to be able to live in the reality of it might not be. So getting into a relationship and then doing everything in your power to convince others and yourself and the world that that's the kind of relationship that you have. Because let's face it, that's what we're doing. That is what social media is. That brings me around nicely to actually social media. That is what social media is. Social media is, as far as the romantic perspective is concerned, is to only show the best of it. Only ever show the best of it, right? And it's usually in some performative sense, right? Here we are doing the thing, buying the thing, giving the gift, getting the gift, saying some kind of whatever it is in a post or whatever. And that is me declaring in some action form that I am interested in you, or that I am into somebody. Because obviously when you're sharing it on social media, you want everyone else to know. Do you know what I mean? So here I am declaring now to the world that this is what's happening, and that's what I'm doing. And again, when it comes down to being with the right person that is unconditionally your counterpart in every way, you literally don't care. You don't care. There's no need for any of that performance, right? Because it's all just felt. It's all just organic and natural. You don't buy flowers. You don't care about diamond rings. Do you know what I mean? Most people who are in that mindset probably don't even believe in marriage and stuff, because it's like, it doesn't mean anything. Marriage doesn't mean anything. It is just a performative action to declare to ourselves and mostly to everyone else, look at this. I'm with somebody. I'm in romantically, or not even romantically, legally now entwined with this other person. Do you know what I mean? There's like, you know, unless it's some kind of businessy legality thing, there's no benefit to marriage. There's no actual life benefit to it. Like, there's no actual, but we're so conditioned to believe that it is fulfilling and satisfying and that it's going to make you happy, that specifically the wedding itself really is going to make you happy, then look how much we spend on it. Look at the industry now that we have around weddings. Like specifically just the wedding day, it baffles. I cannot get over how much, like what the average, let me look it up. I literally have Google. How much does the average wedding cost? Oh my God, I knew it. It's like 20,000. It's about 20K. About 20K. What's it in the US? 20,000. Well, it's, yeah, okay, so it's around the same. About 30,000, just over 30,000 in the US. $30,000, 20,000 pounds. That's utterly insane. That absolutely blows my mind. You would spend, I'm trying to think of, yeah, you would spend what is some people's year's salary. You know, I mean, they probably don't have a very good job and stuff, obviously, and blah, blah. But you're spending a year's worth of salary on one day, right? And just so you know, it's spending all of that on a day that is essentially for everyone else. Stop telling me it's the bride's day. It's not the bride's day. Why she got to invite all those people then? Why do I want my family there and I want my this? Why do you have to pay for them then? Sorry, do I have to pay for my family to be at my birth? But when I'm not giving birth, but like, do I have to pay for my family to be at my birthday parties? Do I have to pay for my families to turn up at Christmas? I mean, I buy them gifts and there's food around and stuff, but £20,000 for one day, right? So you're telling me I'm supposed to be looking forward to a day where I'm going to know that I'm spending the rest of the life with the person that I love and blah, 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 blah. Let's face it, that's just not how it goes and stuff. And you don't even freaking love that person, all right? I'm just saying, because you don't even know them. You're about to know them. Yeah, come talk to me 4 or 5 years after you've been married, all right? Because you're about to find out exactly who they are. They're about to find out who you are as well. We're all going to be finding out some stuff, all right? £20,000. So I'm supposed to look forward to this day that is my day because I'm the one getting married. It's mine and my partner's day. And yet I'm spending money on everyone else. Like that, what? Like, how can I afford for this person to come? Excuse me? Is it my day or not? Like, at this point, I'm just getting married in the garden. I'm never getting married because I literally do not see the point. But if you're getting married, just get married in the garden. Everybody can turn up for free. Everybody chip in, make some food. And I mean, again, spend some money. You can cater, I guess, and have a DJ and 20,000. Isn't that the price of a new car? Like 20,000 car. What car can we get? Jesus, it's brand new. This car. Oh my God. Like this, yeah, blows my mind. Sorry, it just blows my mind. Like actually seeing the numbers here, because I thought it was going to be like 20,000 or something. But I was hoping that I would be wrong. I was hoping I would be wrong. Please, people. Oh, and it's not even, it is. It's everyone's fault and it's nobody's fault, but it's not even just your fault because, well, I'm not saying you, the listener, but it's not even just people's fault. Like the public, the people who want to get married, it's capitalism that makes you believe that you need to have it. The more that you spend, the more lavish it is, the further you go from your current location and all of that kind of stuff, then the more in love you are, or the more I don't know, the more successful this marriage is going to be or something. Again, it's this weird unspoken rule. Do you know what I mean? And I've been to some weddings and stuff, like, but I think the most of the weddings that I've been to have just been small because, they're not like the most wealthy of people or whatever. Most weddings I've been to have just been normal working class people and stuff or whatever. Do you know what I mean? They can't necessarily be forking out even 20,000 on a wedding. It's just so much money. Oh my god, it's so much freaking money. Guys, just sign it like, oh my god. Can you not just have a party? Can you not just have a party? Do you have to spend that much on the dress? Like, how much does the average wedding dress cost? Oh, oh. Okay, on average, we would say a designer wedding dress is about 1,500. But it can go anywhere from 100, obviously, depending on if you're buying, like, you know, I guess secondhand dresses or something like that, up to 8,000. £8,000. 1,500 is ridiculous. Because isn't that like what celebrities like spend on clothes and stuff, right? When they go into, like, you know, so and so is at the something awards or whatever, and they're wearing such and such, and then there'll be like an image of it, and it's like, you know, $2,500 or something like that, and I'm like, wow, that's a lot of money, but you know, they just spend money, whatever, they got loads of money, that's fine. Normal people, can you imagine the amount of pressure, that one must be under? No wonder there's so many damn bridezillas and Ebenezer grooms. I don't know what you would call the male. Do you know what I mean? Like the amount of stress that you must be under, because what none of this takes into account, specifically when it comes to weddings. I want to say in romance in general, like, you know, when you get to the actual it's time for romance in my life kind of stage or whatever, which is increasingly younger and younger, and that's weird. But the thing is with romance and weddings is you have to remember, for most of us, especially young girls, because of, you know, what we're fed content and consumer wise when we're younger, we people grow up with their idea of the perfect wedding in their mind all the time, right? They've been watching movies, they've been reading books, they've been seeing TV shows, they may have watched other people around them get married in their life and stuff like that. And then obviously advertising and the industry, the wedding industry, the romance industry, the Hallmark industry, it just feeds it to you again and again and again and again. It's relentlessly throwing it down your throat to the point where you get older and it's actually time for you to get into romance or, you know, get married or something like that. You've just got all of this stuff going off in your head of what is acceptable, what is best, what is what you think that it is that you want, right? What it is that you think that you want. Marriage is not natural. If you were born on a desert island with a tribe of people who just, you know, let's say you got phones and internet and all that kind of stuff, blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean? But if there was like no concept of it in your world of marriage, let's not say necessarily romance, but of marriage, like literally the act of marrying and signing a stupid piece of paper to say, oh, I belong to you now, essentially. There would be no internal instinctual automatic desire to get married. You would have no concept of it. Whereas romance, I think you might still have a little bit of that. I think it is natural for us as human beings, especially the more we evolve and stuff or whatever. I think it is quite natural for us to want to do something to, you know, perform that your interest, perform your attraction to somebody. Oh my god, that's kind of like what animals do, right? Think about it, right? Oh my gosh. So I love bugs, you guys. I absolutely love bugs so much. And one thing that a lot of bugs do is perform. They perform like a funny little dance, and birds, another one, not specifically, but especially birds of paradise. Birds of paradise do it too. They have all those funny dance moves and they change all their colors. And I do want to point out that it is always the male that dances, by the way. In the animal kingdom, it is the male that is the entertainers. Okay? Just saying. Just saying. And women just get to sit there and be like, yeah, well, maybe not. But that goes for a lot of the animal kingdom. But I like it about specifically about bugs and the birds of paradise as well. They are performing to declare their interest, performing to declare their availability, performing to declare their attraction, right? Like, hey, I'm ready. And obviously in their sense it is for procreation and stuff. For us it's a little bit different again, because we've just obviously evolved a little bit more beyond that point. But I think the instinctual desire to perform something in some way to let them know, to let somebody know that you're interested, I suppose that could be a little bit more, I think it's just become more accessible. Do you know what I mean? Like, because of the capitalist society we live in, it's become, there's more ways of doing it now. If we didn't have the tradition of 12 red roses, if we didn't have the tradition of chocolates and ring, you know, diamond, this, that, and everything else, if we didn't have the tradition of, you know, Valentine's Day and things like that, if all of those things were not there, I think we would still have ways of showing somebody that we are romantically inclined towards them, whether that's body language or facial expressions or just our communication or something. I do think it's naturally there. It's just, like I said, now it's become more like they are capitalizing off of that. They are capitalizing off of the fact that it is our natural instinct to be attracted to each other and to want connection and to want stable, secure connection, right? And I mean, we'll probably have to do it in a different podcast because I'm kind of running out of time. But another thing that factors into it is the fact that so many of us are missing it as children, whether through, you know, neglectful choice of parental figures or authority figures, or just because they didn't even know because they weren't taught it by their parents, and so on and so forth. So many of us grow up in advanced civilization with a society with attachment issues and approval issues and validation issues. So romance and attraction specifically, not love, not unconditional love like we've been talking about, but romance and attraction provides that for us. It provides it for us in a sort of substance way, like almost like a substance would alter your brain chemistry, you know, like taking a psychotic or something. It messes with your head. Romance does that. It's the love drug. That's what it does. It releases chemicals. It immediately puts on those rose tinted glasses and makes everything look like it's, you know, cloudy and dreamy and romantic, right? But it's this substance that's in our brain that and it becomes addictive, you know, just like most of them do. Your brain gets used to it. Your brain gets used to relying on it. Your brain is excited because it's getting attention, validation, approval, and attention that it didn't get when it was critically developing at your younger years. You know what I mean? Like, critically developing at your younger years. So I think when we get out into the world and we step out into the world of performative romance, which is a, you know, kind of a capitalist idea, really, it becomes all too easy to just fall into it because it's already been set up for you, right? It's already been set up for you to just take it. It's already been set up for you and said, do you know what you like? Do you know what means romance to you? Diamond rings. Do you know what means romance to you? Candlelit dinners. Do you know what means romance to you? And it's like, isn't that crazy that to all people all over the world, you're trying to convince everybody that diamonds and candlelit dinners and walks on the beach are romantic? Because it's not. None of those things are romantic. You just want people to pay for stuff. Diamond rings cost money. Going out for dinner costs money. And paying to go on a holiday to walk on a beach costs money. I'm not saying don't spend money on your peoples and stuff. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. I just think it's really important that we become consciously aware of this. They are telling us what we want. And they're making us want it. And the more we consume that on social media of other people living their lives who also have decided that that's what they want, it also reinforces that that's what we want. And I always just, okay, I'll come down to the question. What are those things going to do for me? Number one, is there anything that performative romance can do for me that I cannot do for myself? Can I buy myself a diamond ring? Yes, I can. Don't want to because I don't care about jewelry, but hey. Do I want to, can I walk on the beach and talk about life and love and all of this? Yes, I can. I don't need a romantic partner to do it whatsoever. I've got several best friends I can be doing it with, and I'm very happy to just talk to the universe. And if I'm walking on the beach, I'll talk to the water. I don't care. The physical presence of another human being does not add any kind of benefit. It doesn't, I'm not saying it would be worse if I had it. I'm just saying there's nothing from this where I'm just like, oh, that's extra. Because I already have people in my life that I can do that with. I don't have to be romantically tied to them in order to have that experience, right? Candlelit dinners can do that for myself because I love to cook for myself. And then I set it out on the table and I sit down and I watch my favorite movies. And I'm so excited for Christmas because I'm going to be doing that all over Christmas. Okay, definitely can do that for myself. Flowers, what's the point? Got allergies, so go away. Chocolates, don't like chocolates. I like sweets. Can I buy myself sweets? You tell me. I'm pretty sure I can buy myself some sweets. I'm trying to think of anything. Well, what about someone who says that they love you, that they want to be with you? Again, live with my best friend. Me and my godson, also best friends. You know, I'm like the only person in his life that he truly respects and looks up to. Got my whole community that I'm building on here or on online and stuff, and then meeting friends through that. So it's not just parasocial relationships. I'm actually making best friends across the world. So I got lots of people who love me. Ultimately, I love myself, and that's the only thing that really matters. But that's what shines, and I meet other people and they love me too, and I love them, and we all love each other, and it's so much love, you guys. Oh my God, I have like the most love in my life ever. And again, that's love. So what is romance? What is this performance providing me? Other than entertainment, really, because I do get to watch it on social media, like two people like, hey, we finally got together and we're boyfriend and girlfriend and she finally said yes and blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, come, I want to see you in 5 to 10 years. Let me see. Because no, I'm not even cynical. I'm not cynical. I'm not jaded. I absolutely believe that real love exists. And I think that romance is a way of us performing it. But our societal, traditional, capitalist view on romance, nah, not at all. I think romance should exist for us to perform and say, hey, this is, I love you. But the idea that we all want the same thing, the idea that Pandora bracelets and what's it called? What's the other one called? Oh my God, I literally have no idea. Chanel bags, you know, penthouse suite holidays and all of that kind of stuff. No. Like if you actually got to know yourself separately from all of those things that you think that you want, especially when it comes to romance, you would realize you want completely different things, things that are personal to you, things that mean something to you, not because, well, society says that a diamond ring means they are going to invest in me. They're going to put their energy and their time into me. That means I've made it. I must be successful. And if they say yes to this diamond ring, I am also successful. I have achieved something. Look at that, world. I did the thing that you all said I'm supposed to do. Lock down a person or get locked down by a person. Yeah? It's funny because, you know, we all know well over half of those things end in breakups and divorces and things like that. So I don't understand, why are we still taking the advice? Why are we still thinking that that's the way we should be doing it if it clearly doesn't work? Yeah, I suppose it's because that's what keeps the machine going. It's important for people to believe it relentlessly no matter what, because if they don't, the machine will fall apart, right? If people start getting their own ideas, if people start actually recognizing their individual desires and journey and evolution and growth as a part of the collective, then the machine's going to start falling apart. It is kind of already falling apart. And I know everything that is happening right now in the world, it seems contrary to it. But, you know, I mean, I can't even question, because I just have unwavering faith. I have unwavering faith. It's either going to work out, because, and this is not, there's no way, obviously, this is the end of the story, because that's not how it goes. Light always wins. However, if it doesn't in my lifetime, I'll just be dead and it won't matter, because I won't be here. So I just have unwavering faith. Whatever happens, we're going to be all right. Do you know what I mean? We're actually just going to be all right. And like I said, this podcast is me just kind of looking at it almost from an alien perspective. Like, if I was an alien and I came to Earth, which is kind of how I feel sometimes, I feel like I'm just looking at humans from this not human perspective. I am human and I feel human things and I experience human stuff, but I'm just looking around at most of the rest of the world and I'm just like, wait, why do you believe that? Like, why are you just giving into it? Why do you just accept it? Why are you settling? And why are you so afraid of this? And why do you have such an attachment to that? And it's like I'm observing a species from a distance. Like, I'm here as a student just learning about the human species, before I go back and say, hey, these guys are cool, man. I mean, they are sad. They are very sad. And do you know what makes it even sadder, alien species, is the fact that some of them really choose to be sad. You know what I mean? What's sad is the fact that, what's upsetting and what's sad about it is the fact that some people choose to be sad. Like, they choose to be sad because they don't know they have another choice. That's sad enough. But you know what's even sadder, alien race? It's human beings who know they have a choice and they still choose to be sad, to be afraid, to be alone. You know? It is sad, but it's also awesome. Humans are awesome. They are so smart and creative. They are creative in all of the best ways, and they're creative in all of the worst ways. No other species on this planet, like, no other species on this planet, as creatively dark and light as human beings, right? They like everything and they dislike everything, and they're always trying to find belonging in a world where they're always trying to divide themselves from other people. They have so much contrast. They're just beautiful. I love humans. I love humans. That's me talking to my alien peoples, by the way. You know, I would not be surprised if I finished my life on this planet and went somewhere else and was like, oh yeah, see, I told you. I knew. I was just going there. I was a student. I was a student of humanity. Yeah. I wanted to come here and find out what y'all guys are up to and why you're like this. Do you know what I mean? And I had to go through my own human experience in order to kind of get to that point, really. Maybe it was about me remembering that I'm not human. No, wait, I am human. Obviously, biologically, I'm human. I think it was just about me maybe remembering that I'm something else as well, you know? And all of y'all guys got it in you too. It's just, you're either going to choose to or not. Some of you don't even know. Some of you will know and will decide not to. It's a little bit like waking up from the Matrix, you know? Blue pill, red pill, right? Also, not like red pill guys. Those guys are idiots. I'm not talking about the alt-right, okay? I think a girl needs to be handing out some red pills for once, all right? Let's leave the guys. Stop handing out your red pill. You're doing it wrong, all right? Let's just let a girl have a go. That's all I'm saying. Just let her have a go. Yeah? Take a step back, sort yourselves out. You know, get some emotional work done, you develop some empathy and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, let a girl do the red pilling for once. Because it's a different kind. You know what I mean? It's a different kind. Oh, I do make myself laugh, you guys. But it's wake up or not. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I think romance, overall, romance is just one of the areas where we do it the most, because it's an area where it requires vulnerability. Our romantic relationships are outside of our parental relationships, not in every case, but in most cases, outside of our parental relationships. And for those people who do have, you know, a soulmate kind of best friend in their lives, like I am fortunate to, a romantic relationship is really the only other relationship in your life where you are, it's required of you really, but you are more vulnerable. Your vulnerability is on show. All of your vulnerability on show. I would argue all of your vulnerability is on show more in a romantic relationship than any other relationship, especially when you get down to physical intimacy and things like that, right? That's giving those things away, and all of that kind of stuff is so much more vulnerable than any other relationship that you do in your life. So it makes sense that we kind of place the most weight on our romantic relationships. But that, coupled with the capitalist mindset of, of romance is shown in a certain way, and performative romance is how you do it, is essentially spending money, is how you do it. Those things put together have just created this entirely unhealthy mindset, this completely unhealthy idea of, an unrealistic idea of, this is what it's going to look like, right? Everybody seems to be aiming for a point where they have happily ever after, and they have happily ever after perpetually for all of time. Right? That's what I said at the beginning of this. I really appreciate that couple who came on and said, look, we've been together for 14 years. Do we get bored? Yes. Now, I would argue the only reason that you're getting bored is probably because you're living the same lives as each other. When you get into a relationship with somebody, again, it's this unhealthy expectation that the two of you are going to become one. You know what I mean? And it's like, yes, sort of, kind of, yes. The relationship itself is one, but you are still two individual people. If you find yourself getting bored in a relationship, even after 14 years or whatever, it's probably because you don't have enough in your own individual self lives that when you're coming back together at the end of the day or the end of the times or whatever, you know, you're excited and you have things to share and you have stuff to discuss and things to show each other. And I did this, and hey, I did this. No, how did you do that? And I didn't. Blah, blah. Do you know what I mean? If you're living that same life every single day of the relationship really just becoming your identity, that needs to be a whole episode of itself, right? If that's what you're doing, then yeah, I can see boredom setting in. I don't see a reason why a human being should be bored at all anyway. Boredom is a construct, a conceptual construct that we as humans invented, because there is no such thing as boredom. Boredom is just the absence of you doing something that you want to do. And you could be doing a whole bunch of stuff. There is no excuse for a human being to be bored. Yeah, we invented that. And bored in your relationship, right? Like, come on. If you're bored on your own and you're bored in your relationship, oh, yeah. Come on. So, again, props to you guys for being honest, but that is kind of the problem. That is kind of one of the biggest problems, is the honeymoon period is all about that performative romance, go, do. And then you spend several years either settling down, moving in, having kids, getting married. That takes up a little bit of time. It's a little bit distracting, etc., etc. Eventually, you'll end up at the point where you've just built something and you're just like, okay, I've done all the things now. Society, I did all of the stuff. So where's my paradise? Where's my happily ever after? When am I going to be in paradise, in my living my best life every single day? And then society's there like, oh, you'll just keep going. You can keep going. It'll happen eventually. No. No. If you didn't build it, you didn't build it. Do you know what I mean? Your greatest life is not achieved through a romantic relationship. Your greatest life might have a romantic relationship as part of it, but it is not the path to your greatest life. Right? By no means at all. Because you have to remember, no matter how much you gel with someone, no matter how much you feel somebody is your person, no matter how much you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, they are still a separate human being. And every single second of the day that you are having your perspective and your thoughts and your desires for the future and your biggest life dreams, they are also having their own. And no matter how aligned you are, no matter how perfect you think you are for each other, no matter how perfect you actually are for each other, there's still going to be two completely different things. Right? And what capitalism and romance, performative romance, does not take into account is any of those things. All it is asking you to do is do the thing. Buy this thing, do the thing, here you go. Now, that is how you show to the world and yourself and to them that you are intending on investing energy into them. Right? And nobody actually ever necessarily ends up investing the energy. Right? It also becomes a smokescreen. It becomes rose tinted. Everything is hunky-dory. It's all beautiful all of the time. Oh my gosh. Meanwhile, your devils and your demons are creeping up on your back like, it looks like they've forgotten about us. Maybe it's time to crawl out from the woodwork. Hello, do you remember me? Your abandonment issues? Do you remember me? Your self-esteem issues? Do you remember me? Your childhood trauma? Hello. So yeah, just, you guys can have roses. You guys want roses, you want chocolates, you want walks on the beach, you want all of those things. I want that for you. I want your dreams to come true, right? And regardless of whether or not it's conditioned into you to think that that's what you want, right? But I don't necessarily want you to have the thing, the roses, the chocolate, the walking on the beach with the love of your life. What I want for you to have is the feeling that you think that is going to bring to you. The joy, the contentment, the love, the romance that you think walking on a beach with the love of your life is going to give you. But I want you to have it whenever you want it. I want you to have it as a natural, organic byproduct of being with the right person. You being evolved and healthy and secure and stable enough in yourself, in your skin, in your emotions, in your belief systems, and all of these things to be healthy and solid and secure in it, so that when you're having it with your partner, it's just a natural byproduct. You don't have to go to the beach in order to elicit that romance. They don't have to buy you a diamond ring in order to declare it to you. They don't have to you don't have to go on you don't have to go spend money to go and be in love with each other and to create a loving connection with each other. You could do it every single second of every single day just by whatever. Sorting out the garden, folding some washing, driving down the road and the song comes on, and all of those things, right? To be equally as in love and romantic, to feel that connection with that person, regardless of whether they buy you a Michelin star dinner or a freaking McDonald's. Yeah? Regardless of whether they buy you a diamond ring or they just turn up with a I don't know. I'm trying to think of something that's along the lines of a diamond ring. But that part is going to be personal for everyone. Do you know what I mean? Like, you feel the same of whether they buy you a diamond ring or whether they, I don't know, buy you that pair of fluffy socks that you really wanted or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, the thing, the action, the performative should not have some kind of measurement tied to it. If you're with the right person, if you're stable and secure in yourself, if you are working on or have worked on your trauma and your issues, your attachment issues, which we all have, okay, to be able to just have that with that person, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of, you know, like, to not feel like you have to be pressured into doing something a certain way or spending a certain amount of money or giving us a certain specific action or spiel even in communication in order for this person to know how you feel. Do you know what I mean? Like, I hate that society tells us how to show each other how love, right? I don't even agree with love languages. Why is everyone's love language? Everyone says, my love language is physical touch. My love language is physical touch. And my love language. Really? And not funny how almost everyone's is physical touch. Just saying. I think it's true that everyone's is physical touch. For most people, one of their love languages is physical touch. But I think that's a little bit more just biology and chemistry and stuff like that. You know, it's the physicality, like, do you know what I mean? Like, whereas an act of service, somebody might be an acts of service love languager, where it's like, this is how I show you that I love you, is because I take care of you, or I listen to this that you like, I do things that you need, or, you know, I help you sort things out, or something like that. Somebody might be a gift giver or a gift buyer or whatever, you know, like my acts of service, love language is to give a gift. But again, I still feel like that's society telling us how to do it, right? Society's telling us what romance is, how to do it, and if we stray outside of that, or even if we try and do it in a different way or something like that, because of how each of us is conditioned, most people will turn around and take it the wrong way. You know, like, oh, that means that you don't love me because you didn't buy me the ring. Or that means that you don't love me because you didn't spend X amount of money on such and such. Do you know what I mean? Even if you don't think that, sometimes there's people around and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, really? They did. And I'm not talking about lowering your standards. I am not talking about lowering your standards. I am talking about you getting to know yourself enough to recognize that actually, I don't care about these things. These are the ways that somebody would show me that they love me. These are the ways that would make me really, really happy. And also recognizing that you can have it without the necessity of all of this extra performance around the outside. If you just are your own best friend and your own greatest lover and your own biggest fan, it's so easy to recognize it in somebody else, because they're also doing it for themselves. They recognize it in you because they know it in themselves. They already know what it looks like when a person loves themselves and champions themselves and is best friends with themselves and is secure and stable in their own self-esteem and self-concept and confidence and stuff. They already know what that looks like because they've done it. You already know what that looks like because you've done it. So here's two people going, hey, you like that too? Sweet. Come on. We're not even going to talk romance, but let's just connect. Honestly, I believe the most secure and highest self-esteem, most confident people are not out in this world looking for romance. And I am talking about single ones. Yes, many of them are taken because they've been swept up. And I hate that term. They've been scooped up or whatever. Usually they've been scooped up by somebody who is not like that, right? But there are a lot of people in this world and stuff where that are single like that, and they're single in that position. Do you know what I mean? And I honestly just believe they're not looking for romance because they understand it's performative. They're not necessarily looking for the romance small talk and, you know, I just want to get to know you and blah, 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 blah. And like, oh, I think you're so cute and I think you're so this. It means nothing to them because it's like we understand it's a performance. You know, it's not that anybody is lying, but we understand that, certainly for myself, I can see when somebody is just doing what the book tells them to do. Right? Okay, so yeah, you told me I'm attractive. Oh yeah, I'm smart. You like my singing and my this and my that, and you know, and I've been complimenting you. I'm like, oh yeah, you're super cool, and oh my gosh, that's really cool. Tell me more about your job and blah blah blah. But this is just me getting to know you. Like there's no romantic implications whatsoever here. Do you know what I mean? But when it's happened, you know, and they've been romantically interested, you can tell it's just a series of bullet points. Okay, here they tick that off. Okay, now they're doing this, tick that off. Okay, now they're telling me that, oh, I've never met anyone like you before. Okay, tick that off, and blah 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 blah. It's just all a performance. It's just the same performance, round and 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 round again, right? And I think people like me who genuinely are their own best friend, right? Just living so limitlessly abundantly in their own skin, they're not looking for romance because they don't need that validation. They don't need that declaration. They don't need that that sense of approval. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you buy me flowers? It means nothing. Like, it literally has no effect on me because I know that the buying of the flowers is just you thinking, oh, this is the thing that you do to let somebody know that you're interested in them, right? If anything, that proves to me that you don't even know who I am, right? You haven't listened to me. You haven't gotten to know me enough to be able to start doing things like this, because that's the first thing you would know about me is I don't care about diamonds, flowers, chocolates, weddings, dresses, like the lot. Do you know what I mean? It's probably one of the first things you would know about me, especially if I knew that you were romantically interested. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's easy to tell. It's easy to tell when you've met somebody who champions themselves, somebody who's just not part of that because they're just not looking for it. They're not out here looking for that kind of romance. They're not out here looking for that kind of performance. They're looking out there just, they're not even looking out for the real deal, but they're ready for it when it turns up. And if it happens, it will just be natural and organic. They probably wouldn't go against it very much. They wouldn't resist it. You know, it's not like I'm out here being against romance. I'm not out here saying I don't like it and nobody should do it. I'm not out here saying it shouldn't exist or any of those things. It's just the way we go about it is so unhealthy. It's such an unhealthy expectation and pressure to put on ourselves, all parties included. And it is just playing into the system. It's just what they want you to think that you want, so that you spend the money, you feed the system, it churns around and around, and then you go share it all over on social media and make everybody else think that that's what they want as well. Right? Again, if you were born isolated in your own little world, separate from all of these things, you would not see a diamond ring and associate it with how much somebody wants to be with you. Right? You would have no association of that. Yeah, if somebody came, you might be all right. If somebody bought you some flowers, maybe, depending, you might look at it and be like, oh, that's a light, but you would not associate the bringing of the flowers at all with any romantic gesture. You would just be like, oh, that's a nice set of flowers. You know, oh, look, there's some chocolates. Let me eat that up. It would be no different than your friend just bringing you a gift or something. Right? It's not natural. It's not a natural human state to perform romance. No, it's a natural human... No, wait. Yes, it's a natural human state to perform romance, to let somebody know that you're interested, but it's not a natural state for a human to have such specifics about how they share their romance, because we're not bugs. We're not birds. We have creativity. We have imagination. That's like literally why we've got this giant brain in our head and what it is for. We invent things. We cure things. We build things and we destroy things and we do all kinds of stuff. We are incredibly creative, imaginative beings. So to say that all human beings, or that majority of human beings, it's normal for a human being to want to give or get a diamond ring as a declaration of their love for someone, love in air quotes, that's not natural. It's not natural at all, right? I mean, diamonds are essentially worthless, right? They're worth something because of the capitalist society we live in, but they're worthless. They're just compressed pieces of coal. Like, it's just coal really compressed and heated or whatever it is, and then you just move in this, okay, cool. So why is glass not that valuable? Isn't that just the same thing but with like sand? Right? Why diamonds? What's the dealio? What's the dealio? Who decided one day that this crushed, compressed piece of coal, which I'll argue is beautiful because it went from a piece of coal to this beautiful crystal, you know, this diamond thing. That is awesome. But, you know, so is apples growing from a tree because it came from a seed and then it went up there and now it's like, what? You're telling me this whole thing grew from that tiny little... That's crazy. So why is diamonds so much? Like, what's the dealio? I need to look into that. Who decided diamonds would cost so much? Or mean so much, do you know what I mean? So yes, I agree. It's natural for us as humans to want to express our interest in somebody. We are advanced social beings. But it is not natural for us to be conditioned. It's not natural for us to all think that this is a declaration of it. It's not natural for us to all believe the same action, the same gift, the same Valentine's frickin' Day. That is the thing, right? That's the thing that's declaring it. Do you know what I mean? I think it should be natural for us to do it in all different kinds of ways, depending on who we are individually and our preferences, and obviously our partner and what their preferences and interests and likes and dislikes are and stuff, to cater it around those things, to actually get to know a person to the depths and to know yourself to the depths, to be separate from the capitalist machine. Of course, it would require you waking up to do something entirely unique. Like, that's romantic. It's not romantic to just read from the list of things, take her on a date, buy him wear his jacket home, ask him to go out with this, and this, to go out on a date with blah, blah, blah. Just to go down the list. That's just so normal, right? For something that should be completely felt and expressed in a creative way, we've just turned it into a bullet point system, right? Biff, baff, boom, checklist. Did this, done that, said that, boom. Okay, we're together now. Okay, boom. Did this, that, blah, blah. All right, now we're going to... You're just living out a Mad Lib story, right? Here is the story of our relationship, but it's already out in Mad Libs, right? You're just deciding on the times and the different locations that you go to, or the different meals that you eat on the dates and this, that, and everything else. It's like no unique expression to it whatsoever. Not for everyone, anyway. Anyway, I've blathered on for too long, but I did want to talk about that one. I wanted to talk about it quite a bit because I just don't... Why? Well, we've spoken about why. But that's the question. I look on I look at society, I look at people, I look at relationships, and I'm like, why are we so obsessed with romantic relationships? Why do we play into this idea of performative romance? Why is it so easy for us to, right? What is the benefit to it? And is there any real benefit to it? What is it doing when we're living in a world where we're being convinced that this is the only way to be, or there are certain ways of being happy, right? What is it like? Well, what is a human experiencing when they're going on social media and they're only seeing the positive sides of it and stuff, right? And it all just leads us back around to this really unhealthy, unrealistic expectation. And ultimately, kind of linking back to the last episode of Toxic Positivity, it lightwashes everything. It washes everything out. It washes out. You put on those rose-tinted glasses and you cannot see red flags for the trees. Even though they're just standing right there, and everybody outside of the relationship, everybody outside of the connection can see those red flags clear as day, but not you, because those rose-tinted glasses are on. You know what I mean? And then we get together, we have our honeymoon, and then we're like, oh, we must be in love because we've done all of these things for each other. We must be in love because you bought me X, Y, and Z. We must be in love because we blah, 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 blah. And so you carry on and you settle down into it a little bit more. 5 to 10 years later, you realize, oh my gosh, there are things about this person that I never knew. Yeah, because they were presenting themselves as the best of themselves, just like you were, like the sleazy car dealership owner. Don't worry about the mileage. Don't worry about the carbonator or whatever it is. Don't worry about this not working and that not working. I'm going to just direct your attention over here to all of the positive things and all of the good things. We've learned to advertise ourselves like a capitalist, like a company would, right? Like McDonald's. McDonald's is not going to come up on the screen and say, hey, did you know this has got this many calories in it? It's going to make you a fat ass crap and you're going to get super unhealthy from eating it all of the time, if you decide to eat it all of the time. Also, did you know, by the way, that McDonald's, it never goes off? That's scary. Lovely. Isn't that wonderfully scary how McDonald's never actually decomposes? What the what are you putting in there, McDonald's? They're not going to tell you that on the adverts. No, they're not. They're going to make it look all nice, and it's going to look fresh, and those fries are going to fall down in slow motion with a bit of salt, and you want this McDonald's, don't you? We're all doing that in our relationships. We have learned to advertise only the best of ourselves and to completely shove everything negative under the curtain, both denying it for ourselves and to the person that we're investing in a relationship with. And then we wonder why later on it all comes to the surface. Sorry, did you think that you were going to be able to put that away forever? Is that what you thought? Did you think that getting into this relationship was going to be the cure? My friend, did you not know what romantic relationships are? They are the amplifier. We all think romantic relationships are going to solve our trauma. They're going to solve our abandonment issues. They're going to make us feel loved and wanted and accepted in a way that we never have been before. And it's going to be beautiful. Beautiful. And then you get the relationship. Guess what happens? It completely amplifies every single one of your issues. All of your toxic attachment issues, all of your abandonment issues, all your vulnerability. You thought it was going to protect you? My friend, it is a magnifying glass. No, it is a microscope. They're not going to tell us that. Why would they tell us that? That would mean that we actually did the work and discovered ourselves and recognized our contribution to humanity, not to capitalist society. That's okay, though. More and more of us are going to talk about it. We need to be talking about it, okay? And honestly, I feel like it's not even about people having all of the answers. That's certainly not what my podcast is about. I don't care about having all of the answers. I just care about starting the conversation. I care about getting people to just, hey, wonder. be curious, have a curious mind. I wonder, is that actually what I want, or is that what I'm being told I want? I wonder, is there a different way? I wonder, could I try this? Is there another perspective? Is there another, do you know what I mean? Just slowly, incrementally getting people to ask questions day by day of their everyday lives, of the system. It starts with those niggling thoughts, nagging thoughts, some whatever, nagging thoughts. It starts with those tiny thoughts in the back of your mind, little questions here and there, and it does. It sparks a revolution. It sparks a revolution, and I think um, some other people can be focused on like collective revolution and stuff. I'm definitely a huge part of that, and I'm like studying so much. I want to take in as much research and information as I can in the what's going on currently in the wider world and stuff. And I understand that there is a huge collective shift that is and needs to happen, and all of those kinds of things. But just I'm recognizing my part in this, and my part is to work more on an individual basis. That is something that is my it's not just my strength, but it's where I enjoy it. It's where I strongest, is on a sort of essentially kind of a one-to-one basis, where I'm not necessarily going to be addressing it and like I'm asking the question, why do humans, or why do we as society X, Y, and Z, but bringing it down to an sort of an individual independent revolution, an inner revolution, where you're starting to revolt against maybe your conditioning and your programming and the expectations that you have based on your age, gender, location, political preference, all of that kind of stuff, right? To start asking questions to develop an internal revolution. Do you know what I mean? So that's my part in this anyway. It's kind of what this podcast is. Just me airing out my thoughts, basically. Airing out my thoughts. And hopefully leaving people with a few questions of, oh yeah, I never thought about it like that before. Right? But anyway, we'll see how this develops over time, to be honest with you. I have no idea. Right? I am enjoying creating the artwork for it, though, as you can see here. Yep. I love it. I love you, Topher. Wait, she might be over there. I don't know. Are you over there? I think she might be over there. If you're not on YouTube, you can't see anyway, so don't worry about it, okay? Don't worry about it. Anyway, I'm going to head off because this has been like an hour now. I think an hour is a good amount of time, right? Yeah. I'm getting lost in my thoughts. Okay, you guys. We will see you in the next one. I have no idea what the topic's going to be. I'm just picking out random questions from my brain, and we're getting on with it, right? So I love you so much. Thank you so much for listening. If you are here on YouTube, please make sure you hit the subscribe, the like button, hit that notification bell, so you guys are the first to know whenever I upload, and I upload other things on YouTube too, of course. So if you're not over on YouTube, head over there to the World of Filara so you can see what else I'm getting up to. Some fun stuff, you guys. It's not all dark and heavy and questioning existence. Sometimes I just want to have fun, right? Girls, they want to have fun. And if you are anywhere else listening to the podcast, please make sure that you leave a review, even if it's 1 star and you told me that I was talking too much. It literally doesn't matter. It's exposure. It's a review. Thank you so much. I love you guys, and I will talk to you in the next one.